Gedaliah butchers context. Yeah, what's going on, party people? The place to be. I go by the name of the BK Apologist, transmitting all the way live. New York is the city, Brooklyn is the borough. What's good? What's poppin'? What's going on, man? Good to be here. We got some people in the building. We got the intellectual soapbox in the building. We got Angela J10. We got my man Walsh. Thumbnails epic. Only thing I would critique is the hatchet in the hand. Yeah, I had a hard time getting it, in the right direction, but it looks so dope. I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna go with it. So, but thank you though. Thanks for the love though. Definitely appreciate it. Um, and of course, if you have not yet already, please, 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 pretty please, with sugar on top, like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend that's him again. Please share the link on your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook. We're striving for that 5K sub, so make sure that you already have subscribed because you might not have. And if you have, definitely press that notification button so you can know when BK pops up. And if you like how it goes down with BK, you can show your appreciation via the PayPal link that's pinned on top of the chat. And if you want to be a monthly supporter of BK, you could join the Patreon where you get assortment of goodies to enhance your personal Bible study. So, yes, yes, yes. So, got my man Phil Fox, a real American, in the building. What's going on, good sir? Always good to see you. And so we're gonna look at, just a couple of clips from IUIC video that's entitled Apoloprophetic Haters Are Helped by the FBI. And for those of you who might not understand the Apoloprophetic, that's their term of endearment for urban apologists, right? They like to call us Apoloprophetics. You know, it's all good. We could take a shot, right? We could take a shot. It's okay. It's all right. But it's interesting, and I've heard this so much. And those who have been on my journey on YouTube, I've been called all sorts of things. I've been told I work for Mossad, I work for the Jesuits, right? Vocab Malone is my Jesuit overlord. I work for him. I'm also part of COINTELPRO, which actually we're gonna discuss. Not that I am, but we are gonna talk about COINTELPRO. I'm just an agent. What else? I dance for butter biscuits, and I smoke synthetic weed, which is so weird. And what's the other one? That I'm a Christian because I like pork so much, which is hilarious since those who know me, and I've said it plenty times on this channel, I'm plant-based. I'm a vegan. I don't do any of that, right? So it's wild, right? They call us all that, He said, you are a CIA agent, brother. Am I now? Man, listen, I look at my emails every day. I haven't gotten paid by any of these guys yet. So something's wrong. I check the trash and files, and I'm not getting any money. It's like I need to get some money from this. You know what I mean? So it's like, because think about it, man. CIA got the bag, right? Mossad got the bag. The Jesuits definitely got the bag. You know what I mean? It's like, where's the money? And let's just play on the fact that, let's say I am an agent. I'm trash. I can't get 5,000 subs. Who am I influencing here? What am I doing? I've been here for 6 years. I can't get 5,000 subs. Yeah, feels funny. The Vatican comes to BK for sources. Man, if I was an agent, I would have got fired a long time ago, bro. I- I'm not that effective. Check the data. But, I'm here because I believe that if I can help one or two people avoid, various forms of heresy and false doctrine, if I can just help one or two people here and there, then it's worth it. It's worth all the nonsense. It's worth all the name calling and the ad hominem. It's worth it. This guy, this guy's hilarious. This point is spreading misinformation. You are a psyop. Wow. But again, right? All right. So the main thing you said here is spread. What? How am I spreading if I have such a small influence? What spread? What spread? That's hilarious, man. That is hilarious. But anyway, we're gonna look at this video real quick to see what they have to say. All right, and we're gonna have some commentary afterwards. So, Bodega Lady Michelle Turner's on the check-in. What's up? What's up? Michelle, we have a new you know how they call me a whole bunch of things, right? Here's a new one that we can add. I am now CIA. That was the missing piece. That was the last Infinity Stone in the gauntlet of accusations for BK Apologists. Now I have the full. I got the Thanos gauntlet now. All right, so I am now CIA. Amazing, amazing. Oh, Wash, absolutely, man. Bro, let's talk. Let's definitely talk. I definitely want to jump in and chop it up with you. Absolutely. So anyway, let's get into this. All right. Just give me a second here. Okay, let's go.
The Catholic War Veterans is a group, and then you have the Black Identity or Black Nationalist Hate Group. So there's a letter that they put together, or a pamphlet that they put together, in order to cause civil unrest or cause riots and civil disorders. Okay, so you can get the influence to oppose it. So now it says, watch this.
Background. The memorandum of July 25th, 1967, approved by the director, authorized us to assist the Catholic War Veterans on a confidential basis in preparing the cover and format of the pamphlet, A Time of Challenge. The pamphlet consists of public statements by the director, retired Supreme Court Justice Whitaker, and John Cardinal Crowell, Archbishop of Philadelphia, discrediting extremist organizations and civil disobedience. The pamphlet also contains an article by Dennis M. Higgins of the Philadelphia Inquirer, which accurately dissects organizations leading civil disobedience.
So the FBI helped them create a pamphlet to call out the Black hate groups. Damn. Listen to what I'm saying. The FBI helped them put together a pamphlet to discredit the Black so-called hate groups. Let me.
All right, so they're talking about this FBI working on supplying information to go against Black extremist groups, and of course, they make this correlation with what the apologists have created towards people like IUIC, different books and assorted literature. So they're trying to make a one-on-one correlation, right? But it's interesting that they brought this up, right? Because it's public information. So, of course, I was able to obtain this as well. Okay. This is from the Freedom of Information and Privacy Act, subject COINTELPRO, Black Extremist, Section 1. Anyone can get this online. You don't have to be an agent like myself to get this. Everybody could get this. If you have a search engine, you could get this. Okay. So, of course, we've seen them, bring this up. The pamphlet, A Time to Challenge, right? Counterintelligence, for the Philadelphia office, Catholic War veterans, right? But what's interesting, and I want to make this big here for you. It's not, there's a few organizations that the FBI was interested in monitoring. Okay, so this is from the same paper. Many individuals currently active in Black nationalist organizations have backgrounds of immorality, subversive activity, and criminal records. Through our investigation of key agitators, you should endeavor to establish their unsavory backgrounds. Be alert to determine evidence of misappropriation of funds or other types of personal misconduct on the part of militant nationalist leaders, so any practical or warranted counterintelligence may be instituted. Intensified attention under this program should be afforded to the activities of such groups as the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Revolutionary Action Movement, the Deacons for Defense and Justice, Congress of Racial Equality, and the Nation of Islam. Particular emphasis should be given to extremists who direct the activities and policies of revolutionary or militant groups such as Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, Elijah Muhammad, and Maxwell Stanford. So within the list of organizations that they were keeping an eye on was the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, right? Now, who are those guys, right? Well, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the SCLC, is an African American civil rights organization based in Atlanta, Georgia. The SCLC is closely associated with its first president, Martin Luther King Jr., who had a large role in the American civil rights movement. So you're trying to make it seem as if, there's a correlation between you guys and these different groups. But as you see, they were surveying and monitoring a bunch of different types of organizations. One that happened to be a Christian organization. Okay. Now, what made the SCLC so dangerous, right, that they had to monitor? Well, this is from Lucian Nelson, Activating Faith, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference Fights for Freedom. Through the SCLC did not convince many white churches to join its coalition. It was nevertheless successful in recruiting white Christians and Jews on an individual level. Reverend Hosea Williams, who had been joined by white college students for various short-term civil rights projects facilitated by local SCLC affiliates, developed an idea to connect teams of young white volunteers with Black churches. This grew into the SCLC Summer Community Organization and Political Education, SCOPE for short, project, a voter registration and civil rights initiative. The SCOPE project began in 1965 and developed 500 white college volunteers from nearly 100 universities across 6 southern states to areas where local Black leaders had requested aid from the SCLC. The Black church provided a network of homes for SCOPE volunteers to stay at while they registered voters and provided civic literacy classes. These white college students provided critical support that helped the SCLC and Black churches accomplish grassroots change. SCOPE volunteers reported violations of the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Based on this information, the Department of Justice conducted targeted investigations and sent additional support to counties that had denied Black people's right to vote. SCOPE alumni include activist Catholic priests, Jewish rabbis, and evangelical pastors. By inviting young white people to act on their faith directly, the SCLC fund a creative alternative to white church resistance. In this way, the SCLC maximized the collective impact and influence of religion. The SCOPE project offers an interesting model for rerouting individual defectors or dissidents toward change-making initiatives and for supporting them in taking actions of courage beyond their religious communities. So the issue that some had on top with the SCLC was it wasn't just a Black organization. They were inclusive. They had white colleagues who helped them to make sure that Black people were able to be registered to vote so their voices could be heard. Because you have to understand how dangerous, this is more dangerous than what you guys think you are. Why do I say that? Because if Black and white people work together, we dismantle all this. Especially under Christ, Black and white people under Christ, there's nothing more dangerous on the planet than that. See, as long as we're separate and we're extremists, right? And we are, we only think about ourselves and we other people, then white supremacy rules. But if we get together and we unite, it all falls apart. Satan's schemes get destroyed. And what you don't understand is people like IUIC, you're the agents. You're the agents. Because they want us to be separate. Because when we're together, we enact all sorts of change. Now, back to the COINTEL program paper that you guys had. So it wasn't just the CLC, the SCLC. This program should not be confused with the program entitled Communist Party USA Counterintelligence Program Internal Security, which is directed against the Communist Party and related organizations, or the program entitled Counterintelligence Program Internal Security Disruption of Hate Groups, which is directed against Klan and hate-type groups primarily consisting of white memberships. So it wasn't just Black extremists they were focused on. They had COINTEL programs for white extremists too. So you made it seem like it's just you guys. No, it's not you. Right? The government was keeping tabs on various organizations for various reasons. Right? You guys weren't that special. Okay? You just were not. So the wash is funny. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. This is what we're doing. So, let me move on to the next clip. Just give me a minute here. Just give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me get this other clip ready. All right. So, okay. Let's do this here. All right. Yeah, let's start from here. All right, here we go. All right.
Page. Here we go. Come on.
Philip paid tribute to Dara like the other kings, but when Dara the Younger succeeded, he was attacked and slain by Alexander, reputed son of Philip.
Right. So Alexander the Greek that we just read about, Alexander the Greek, was the son of Philip, and they were Edomites. That's in the Greek time. Let's keep going. This is go ahead.
The chronology of ancient nations.
So the chronology of ancient nations written in
1879.
1879. Let's go inside. Go down to the bottom highlighted part.
That Alexander was the son of Philip is a fact too evident to be concealed. His pedigree is stated by the most celebrated genealogists in this way.
The most celebrated genealogists. What they say about him? Philip. That's his father.
Hermes.
That's his grandfather.
Come on. Meton,
That's his great-great-grandfather.
Rome,
Great-great-great-grandfather.
Unan,
Great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Japheth,
Great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Rumiah,
Great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Byzantium,
Great-grandfather times 7.
Theophil,
Great-grandfather times 8.
Rome,
Great-grandfather times 9.
Elazaphan,
Great-grandfather times 10.
Eliphaz,
Great-grandfather times 11.
Esau,
Great-grandfather times 13. Damn it. Or 12, damn it.
Isaac.
And 13 and 14 was Isaac and Abraham. So they done broke it down from Abraham all the way to Alexander the damn Greek, and he was an Idumean. He was an Edomite, brothers and sisters.
Just like your granddad.
Just like his granddad. So why y'all keep messing with us? So anybody that get that pamphlet, just watch this video and compare it to the damn pamphlet. They saying that in that pamphlet, in their propaganda, there's no historical or biblical evidence that Esau is the Caucasian man.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting, right? Very entertaining, very energetic, right? Very engaging quoting of this particular book. So you kind of know what's going to happen now, right? If you've been watching, you kind of know what's going to occur. So, you know, I too have this particular book that they speak of. And the one thing that I have to say, right, when it comes to them and their eisegesis, right, there's pulling things out of context. This methodology that they use, they apply it to all types of literature, right? So, where's Wash? Wash said, how Esau Greek and he comes from Abraham. Yes, and there's a reason why it sounds as silly as that is. Because guess who agrees with you, Wash? The person that wrote this book. Okay, so anytime you see IUIC bring forth any type of literature, right? And they'll highlight a particular part. It's the parts they don't highlight is what you got to read. Okay? Because it's very similar to what they do with Bible verses. And I've said this a billion times, right? In order for you to at least understand the immediate context of anything that's being quoted, you need to read a little bit prior from that verse that's being quoted and a little after. Right? I like to call it the 20-20 rule. Right? 20 verses before, 20 verses after, to at least get the immediate context. Okay? So, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to read a little bit prior to what they quoted and a little after so we can get the immediate context. All right? So, this is from the book that they just quoted from. Okay? Actually, let me get a little drink here. All right. The same applies further to the original Shahs of Kharizm, who belonged to the royal house of Persia, and to the Shahs of Sirwan, because it is believed by common consent that they are descendants of the Kisras, although their pedigree has not been preserved uninterruptedly. The fact that claims to some noble lineage and also to other matters are just and well-founded always becomes known somehow or other. Even if people try to conceal it, it being like musk, which spreads its odor, although it be hidden. Under such circumstances, therefore, if people want to settle their genealogy, it's not necessary to spend money and to make presents as Ubayd Allah ben Alasan ben Ahmed ben Abdallah ben Miyamun Akadah did, what a name, did to the genealogists among the party of the Aldees, when they declared his claim of descent from them to be a lie. At that time, when he came forward in Maghrib, finally he succeeded in contending them and in making them silence. notwithstanding the truth, is well known to the students. Although the fabricated tale has been far spread, and although his descendants are powerful enough to suppress any contradiction, that one of them, who reigns in our time, is Abu Ali ben Nazar ben Ma'ad ben Ishmaeli ben Muhammad ben Ubadallah the usurper. I have enlarged on this subject only in order to show how partial people are to those whom they like and how hostile towards those who they hate, so that frequently the exaggeration in either direction leads to the discovery of their infamous designs. And what are some examples of these infamous designs, pray tell? Well, that Alexander was the son of Philip is a fact, too evident to be concealed. His pedigree is stated by the most celebrated genealogists in his way. And of course, that's when he goes into Philip, Herman's granddaddy, his grandfather times 10, and 10, right? He does all that spiel. Reading after that list says, according to another tradition, Daul Akhenaten was a man called who marched against Samirus, one of the kings of Babel, fought with him, made him a prisoner, and killed him. Then he stripped off the skin of his head together with his hair and his two curls, got it tan, and used it as a crown. Therefore, he was called Daul Akhenaten by Conatus. According to another version, he is identical with Almadir ben Malasama, i.e., Almadir ben Emarukias. Altogether, the most curious opinions are afloat regarding the bearer of this name, that his mother was a demon, which is likewise believed in Belkis, for people say that her mother was a demon, and of Abdullah ben Halal the juggler, for he was thought to be the devil's son-in-law, being married to his daughter. Such and similar ridiculous stories people produce, and they are far known. What the author is saying here is that people were fudging their genealogies to the point where they were paying people who supposedly are great, when it comes to writing lineages, to basically fabricate lineages. Because if you come from a long line of great people, that gives you, street cred. And he's giving an example. This list that Gedaliah just quoted from, and other things, like all these things, such and similar ridiculous stories people produce, they are far known. So that's what's happening here, guys. That's what's happening here. So they're trying to quote this thing, right, to prove that the white man is Esau by quoting this book because it has this particular genealogy. But the writer of the book is showing that genealogy as an example of something ridiculous and fabricated. It's not kosher. It's a fugazi. It's not real. It's not. That's what the author was saying. He was saying that people were doing this. And the example of people fabricating genealogies was the genealogy that Gedaliah quoted just now. Because again, they refuse to read anything in context. Anything in context. Because anything that sounds like it helps their argument, they're going to take it, regardless if it fits the context of the very things that they're reading. I don't know if they read the whole book. They might have saw the word Esau and they're like, hey, it said Esau. That works for me. That's enough. Bruh. That's all I need. That's all I need. I mean, that's being charitable, Mr. Green, right? that's being charitable, because by you saying that they don't get it is their ignorance of certain things. And I would rather they be ignorant than be intentional, because if they're being intentional, that means they're purposely being deceitful, which is a far worse thing. Right? I mean, either way, it's bad. But one is far more insidious, that they do know the context and decide to manipulate the context, hoping that you won't look and see for yourselves. So again, anytime these guys present a source, and I love when they do it. I love when they put the book on the screen. That's great. Makes my life much easier. It's an alley-oop for me. Right? Because then I go look for the book. I read it in context. And almost every time, it undercuts whatever point they were trying to make with that same book. Every time. I know Jim and Walsh, they've experienced the same thing. They go show something as evidence. We look for the information that they're using. We read it in context. And lo and behold, it's not what they think it is.
Bruh.
It's just not what they think it is. So when it comes to the eisegesis, they receive a resounding, you know what I mean? We gotta boo it. We gotta boo it. We gotta boo it. So and that's it, guys. Every time they come out and make these claims, we're gonna research, we're gonna fact check, and we're gonna show how they're using things outside of its proper context. Jim Green is hilarious. Their source game is yeah. Well, actually, no. It's not that their source game is garbage. Their ability to actually glean what their sources are really saying is garbage. Because they're grabbing all sorts of literature, which is fine. But if you can't read what these passages are saying, then it's all for naught. It's all for naught. And yeah, so that's it. That's all I want to share with you guys. Again, when they read something, whether it's the Bible or some ancient literature from the 1800s, 1700s, 1900s, do the same thing that we need to do. And what's that? You read a little bit before the passage and you read a little bit after the passage. Because, you don't need to be, go to seminary, which is great if you can, right? You don't need to go and get your MDiv. You know what I mean? So, well, some of the music does slap, though. What they're saying is not true, but the music does sound good. I'll give you that. I will give you that. So, yeah. So it's real simple, guys. If you could just remember that anytime any of these guys share a verse or a passage of any book, if you just read a little bit before and a little bit after, it undercuts whatever they're trying to do. It's a very practical thing that anyone could do. You don't need to know how to parse the Greek. You don't need to know the Hebrew, right? Just reading a little bit before and after just to get the immediate context kills most of their argumentation. It really does. It's that simple. And before we go, if you have not hit up the PayPal, please do so. And also, I have a Substack, and I've been dropping an article every day at noon, Monday to Friday. So if you subscribe, you will get an article from BK every day at noon. So during your lunch break, you could go and nerd out and read some apologetic material from your boy. Okay? So, and Tyler says positions don't necessarily have to be contextual. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. So, yeah, but that's it, guys. I just wanted to share that with y'all. And yeah, that's about it. So that being said, remember the 2020 rule. Read 20 verses before and 20 verses after to get the context. And with that, I'm out. Peace.